Today, I will talk about the secret to communication that makes others wholeheartedly convinced, genuinely impressed, and deeply respectful of you. In human relationships, it's not about enduring everything without principles as the best approach. In reality, you need to establish principles and clear boundaries right from the start, especially with your children, spouse, partners, employees, and friends. You need to make them understand your boundaries and that they absolutely must not cross them. If someone violates them, you must firmly confront them and make them pay a heavy price. What I'm saying may sound harsh and not easy to accept, so please stay with me until the end to understand it more clearly. The ancient wisdom warmly greets you, dear audience and friends. First, remember this: tolerating someone for a long time doesn't mean they will reciprocate your affection. On the contrary, you may only receive increasing arrogance from them, because humans are greedy and many people tend to climb over those who are kind. For example, Wu Dalong treated Pan Jinlian with utmost kindness, so good it could move the heavens. In reality, there's a famous star named X and his wife named Y. Everyone knows this story, right? Mr. X treated Mrs. Y with utmost care and devotion, but what was the result? This love didn't earn a corresponding response from the other side, but instead, you only receive growing pain. Of course, this doesn't mean you shouldn't love, but you must love with strategy and method. Being good to someone requires strategy and method. When you're too good to someone, you may only receive pain for yourself. Why is that? It's not that the child has changed, but these interaction patterns aren't planned by the child. These patterns are actually shaped by their classmates, teachers, mother, father, grandparents. A child at 5 or 6 years old, all their behaviors reflect the most natural essence of humanity. There's no concept of good or evil, beauty or ugliness. They haven't learned to deceive, but only express the raw, authentic nature of humanity in the truest way. To clarify, let me give an example. My son, when he was in first grade, treated people around him like friends and family completely differently. With his best friend, he was very generous. Whatever delicious food we had at home, he'd automatically bring it to share. But with his mother, he was very stingy. Why? Because his mother spoiled him too much. With her, he was used to receiving without needing to give back. So why would he give back? Thus, with his mother, he formed a habit of receiving without reciprocating. But with friends, it's different. He had to give back by sharing food, toys to play together. So he had to reciprocate. This makes perfect sense. If he doesn't give back, he'll lose those friends. So he got used to giving to receive. If you're a mother raising a child, you're probably sweating coldly by now. But don't worry, the play has only just begun. Next, let's look at the relationship between my son and me, shall we? For a master at building interaction patterns like me, dealing with him is no different from swatting a mosquito in front of me. In my presence, he doesn't dare make a single mistake. He's completely a model student, a wonderfully filial son. I only need one glance, and he immediately behaves respectfully, meticulously, everything in order. Why is that? Because he's afraid of punishment. I discipline him mentally, physically, materially. In our relationship, I've set painful, unforgettable marks. For example, once he dared to talk back to me, I punished him like this: no TV for 10 days, no toys for 10 days, no playing with friend for 10 days, only staying home to do homework. Physically, standing for 10 hours. Materially, no snacks for 10 days. After 2 such punishments, he understood, in front of his father, he cannot make any mistakes. If he does, he'll face severe consequences. So, in our relationship, he formed a habit. Making a mistake comes with a heavy price. And for me to treat him well, first, he must treat me well. Every time I punish my son, his grandmother would come and plead for him, saying I shouldn't punish kids like that, and scold me. On the contrary, she spoiled him, buying all sorts of toys, delicious food, basically giving him whatever he wanted. What was the result? This child completely disrespected his grandmother, often arguing back, yelling, being rude to her. Later, she realized this approach wasn't right. Things had spiraled out of control. When I stepped into discipline, no one interfered anymore. The truth is, in relationships with spouses, partners, leaders, and employees, all have such interaction patterns. How people around you treat you is actually shaped by you. How do you build interaction patterns? The core principle number one, to build interaction patterns, is to establish boundaries. In human relationships, it's not about tolerating everything without principles as the best way. In reality, you need to set principles and clear boundaries right from the start, especially with children, spouses, partners, employees, friends. You need to make them understand your boundaries and that they absolutely must not cross them. If someone violates them, you must firmly confront them and make them pay a heavy price. Why don't good people receive good things? Because you've been so good, you no longer have principles or limits. Even when someone violates your principles and boundaries, you still try to smile and endure. This only makes the other party push further because they have no idea how much you care about this. It's not their fault, it's your fault. As I often say, you can't take care of your children forever. Don't let them develop a habit of being cared for. You can't spoil your wife forever. Don't let her develop a habit of being spoiled. You've let her develop that habit, but you can't continue. Problems will surely arise. Let me tell a story from around me. I have a friend, when he first got married, his wife was wonderful, the kind of virtuous wife, caring mother. But my friend spoiled his wife excessively to an unbelievable degree. At first, when we came to his house for dinner, his wife cooked, he voluntarily helped in the kitchen. Over time, he helped with more and more tasks. Initially, just washing knives, prepping, then he cooked 2 dishes, she cooked 2. Later, when we came over, his wife directly told him to cook. She'd occasionally go to the backyard, give a few instructions, then leave. Eventually, she did nothing. All the cooking was done by my friend, and he washed the dishes too. I clearly noticed a change in his wife's behavior, treating him somewhat dependently. My friend, each time, just gave a wry smile, never pushed back, truly a good husband. Actually, both were at fault. One wanted to give, one wanted to receive. That's fine as long as they're happy. But the result wasn't like that. Some time ago, my friend called me, his voice filled with rage, saying he'd hit his wife and wanted a divorce. I was shocked. I asked what happened. He said, I've been married to her for years. I've always spoiled her, loved her. Married for 10 years. I endured her for 10 years. I hate cooking the most, but for her for 10 years, I cooked every day. The kids, I took them to school every day. Her mood got worse and worse. She often yelled at me. I couldn't take it anymore, so I hit her. I really can't stand this woman anymore. I said, calm down, don't argue. Isn't she like this today because you created her? Why are you upset now? If you couldn't accept cooking, taking care of the kids, her yelling at you, why didn't you say so at the start? You endured for 10 years, and now you say you can't take it? Why didn't you refuse from the beginning? You gave her 10 years to build this habit. Now you want her to change. How can she? Also, at your age, with grown kids, if you divorce, what about them? After hearing this, he said, so what do I do now? I said, keep enduring. You've endured for 10 years. Just endure for life. In reality, this is the worst consequence of not having clear boundaries. No one can be blamed, only himself. So, if you formed a long-standing fixed interaction patterns with some people around you, I advise you don't rush to break them. Consider whether you have enough leverage now, whether they truly need you. Because long-formed interaction patterns, if broken, will surely lead to fierce conflict. Of course, if you have enough leverage and they can't live without you, you can break these patterns, but the process will surely be intense. You need to prepare mentally. But if you don't break them and keep maintaining, you need to think, can you endure it? Because the more you endure, the worse they'll become. Isn't that more painful? On the second point, let's talk about establishing pain points and pleasure points, especially the first time an incident touches your boundaries. You must make the other party from a pain point. This is crucial. What does it mean? Let's continue with a real story. For example, When my wife and I first got together, our interaction patterns hadn't formed yet. That was the struggle phase. I advise everyone during the dating phase, men should try to yield and be tolerant with a girl. Because during dating, you have no leverage. After marriage, when your leverage grows, you need to adjust the interaction patterns compared to dating. During dating, you revolve around her every day. She occasionally throws tantrums like a princess or a lady. You can still pamper her. That's the vibe of love. After marriage, men need to work. If the girl still keeps the dating interaction patterns, throwing tantrums like a princess, it's really not good for the man or the family. Women, don't argue with me. For a happy life, women need to understand. Dating is a drama series. Marriage is a documentary. Dating is just a performance for two. Marriage returns to reality. If you don't understand, it's okay. Life and time will prove what I say. So, women, if you have demand for men, you must state them before marriage. After marriage, it's tough. So, after marriage, you need to gradually adjust the interaction patterns between you and her. For example, after my wife and I got married, once she told me to cook. I knew clearly if I started cooking, it would become my responsibility and more housework would fall on me. I'm not unwilling to do housework, but my career doesn't allow me time for those things. So, I had to create a deep pain point for her about this, to make her remember forever. So, I told her to cook, but she didn't want to. Then, the battle began. After that, I got furiously angry, threw a tantrum, even smashed a cup, making the situation serious. Then, I said, I'm busy with work, I don't have time for this. If you can't cook a meal, we don't need to stay together. Tomorrow, I'll file for divorce. She said, divorce fine. This incident caused a commotion for 2 days, bothering her parents, who came to mediate. In the end, she was exhausted and thought, just for cooking a meal, divorce was too costly. And with the time and energy spent in those 2 days, she could have cooked countless meals. Finally, she gave in. Every time, she cooked herself. Over time, it became a habit. In 10 years of marriage, except for holidays, I've never cooked. During holidays, I voluntarily cook once. She's so touched she could die, praising me as a great husband, saying we have delicious food today. You didn't miss here, that's the truth. And we no longer argue about who cooks. Because in this incident, I created a deep pain point in her mind. And after each time she cooked, I praise her. Really delicious, my wife cooks amazingly. This created a pleasure point for her. Under the dual impact of pain and pleasure points, we formed a fixed interaction pattern in this matter. Cooking is her job, and she never feels disadvantaged. Because cooking has become automatic, and her reaction now, she studies cuisine daily, and our relationship is very good. So, you ask me, that tantrum 10 years ago, was it real anger? Definitely not. It was a strategic tantrum. The so-called EQ definitely isn't never getting angry, but knowing how to get angry strategically. You can show your anger, but you can't get angry recklessly. One is strategic action. One is thoughtless, foolish action. When facing different people, in different situations, with different events, you need to use different emotions. In business, too, the boss needs to create interaction patterns with partners. Managers need to create patterns with their teams. If the patterns aren't built well, you'll easily be taken advantage of by subordinates. The most effective way to create patterns with partners is through arguments. Partners who don't argue can't do good business. And the sooner you argue, the better. Why do many friends, relatives with good relationships split when starting a business together? Because they didn't argue at the start. Later, arguments become uncontrollable. Because not arguing initially means someone is enduring, and decisions without debate are prone to errors. Actually, teaching people and teaching dogs are the same. Read the story below and grasp its spirit. One day, I bought a small dog and named it Little Black. I called Little Black, it didn't come. I called again, still didn't come. What'd it do? So I bought a piece of rib, held the rib, and called Little Black, it came right away. For a month straight, I used ribs to call it. Every time I called Little Black, it came. After a month, I stopped holding ribs I called Little Black. It happily ran to me, wagging its tail. But I noticed it liked lying at the door, not in its bed. What to do? So, I placed some thorny plants at the door. Every time it lay down, it got pricked. I also put some ribs in its bed. So it taught itself not to lie at the door, but in its bed. Later, I removed the thorns from the door and the ribs from its bed. But it still obediently lay in its bed, not at the door. And somehow, I had created an interaction pattern between it and me. Got it? Remember, the best time to build interaction patterns is the first meeting. Because at that moment, the other party doesn't know you or how to interact with you. The best time to break patterns is when you have enough leverage they can't live without you. Make me unable to live without you. Whoever can't live without the other suffers. You can't live without them. You suffer. They can't live without you. They suffer. Your success in business, happiness in family, all come from your irreplaceability. The rules of this world are becoming clearer. When you're not strong enough, you don't even get a small chance. When you're strong enough, before you are thousands of opportunities you can't refuse. When you're outstanding enough, everything you want will come to you automatically. Taking advantage is human nature, even between parents and children. If you're capable, outstanding, your parents will love you more. The essence of this society is that your reward isn't based on your effort, but on the irreplaceability of that effort. You must remember, your value isn't your salary, but your irreplaceability in your boss's eyes. Only when you're irreplaceable can your salary not increase. In marriage, if you only rely on beauty and figure to attract your husband, over time, someone prettier will appear and a third party will emerge. Some women, facing a cheating husband, don't cry or make a scene, but care for the family more and improve themselves. They make the home tidy, become more charming, the kids more loved. After a while, when the husband's novelty with a third party fades, he returns home, sees a happy, warm family, and can't bear to abandon it. Eventually, he returns to his family. Of course, some say, I can't do that. He cheats, and I still have to serve him. Then, first, reflect on where you went wrong. Then, decide to stay or leave. If in marriage, you're not irreplaceable, remarrying won't mean much. The same problem will reappear. In the job market, too many people are easily replaceable. By younger people, machines, new systems. Luo Jinyu once said, workers must ask themselves 3 questions. Question 1, can machines do my job? Question 2, can my job be outsourced? Question 3, does my job have future growth? The answers to these may discourage you, but that's not a reason to avoid thinking about them. Being questioned is better than being slapped by reality. Often, we assume our income is tied to our education, skills, past achievements. But in truth, these are huge misconceptions. How much money we make in life has nothing to do with education, emotions, or past achievements. It only relates to our irreplaceability. When your boss decides your salary, in their mind, there's a scale. On the left is your current salary. On the right is the benefit you bring to the company at this moment. Note 2 keywords here. First, at this moment. Not your contribution a year ago, not your total past contributions, but your contribution right now. Second, benefit. Not how good your relationship is or your character. If you're paid $10 million, but someone else can do your job for $5 million, I'll replace you. Even if we had a good past relationship, even if you earned the company $1 billion before. But sorry, your value right now is replaceable, so replacement is necessary. This is cruel, but completely reasonable. Too many of us make this big mistake at work. We see past contributions as what we deserve now. When we don't get it, we resent feeling others owe us. Actually, it's because you don't understand society's rules. Remember, as long as they have a better option, abandoning you is perfectly normal. You blame them for ignoring feelings, lacking morals, and end up sad, angry, only because you haven't matured. For example, we all used Nokia, right? Had feelings for Nokia, right? But when iPhone came out, didn't you switch to iPhone? I love Nokia, then Samsung, then Huawei. Now I prefer Xiaomi. Can you call me fickle? Simply put, if an employee wants to leave you but can't find better treatment elsewhere, naturally, no matter what you do, they won't go. Customers leave you but can't find products with the same price and value as yours, naturally, they'll come back and pay you. So, understand, everyone who leaves you, abandons you, hurts you, whether employees, customers, spouses, partners, it's not their fault. It's the natural result of you not being irreplaceable. Except for you, no one in this world can hurt you. As long as you're replaceable, your life will surely be painful. As long as you're irreplaceable, your life will surely be happy. In the palace, all concubines are hurt by the emperor. But can any concubine hurt the emperor? Because the emperor is unique in all concubines' eyes, while all concubines are just one of many in the emperor's eyes. In real life, between you and those around you, are you their concubine or emperor? If others can easily replace you, with or without you, they lose nothing. But without them, you're done a huge loss. Can you imagine how terrifying that is? Many men use "I provide for you" to turn women into useless concubines, while they out there grow daily, advancing, becoming carefree emperors. At this point, the official wife can't live without him, because with no survival skills, staying together, she can only endure losing spiritual freedom. You know why your husband is hot-tempered, doesn't listen to you, yet you still serve him obediently? You know why in the company some talented people always defy you and you can't do anything? Because they know clearly without you, they'll still thrive. But without them, you're done. So they naturally act that way. It's inevitable. In a family, who speaks louder in arguments is the one contributing the most to the family. In a company, who's the thorn in your side, daring to challenge the boss, is the indispensable one. And that person daily complains, gets angry, demands benefits. You put yourself in that passive position. Don't you deserve it? Whether managing a family or a team, forget everything else. The most effective way is 5 words. You're fired. Simple, but do you dare say it? When you don't have a replaceable value, what do? The secret is endure, flatter, quickly build leverage. When you can't manage without them, you can only endure. For example, Liu Bang in Chinese history at the Hongmen banquet had to endure before Xiang Yu to save his life. At the banquet, Liu Bang maximized, showing affection. Despite Xiang Yu's attacks and insults, Liu Bang endured, humbled himself, even wanted to marry Xiang Yu's daughter, making Xiang Yu think Liu Bang was just a servant with no ambition or worth, so he let Liu Bang live. When managing a team, with those who have big leverage, you must first flatter, then overthrow. Endure first, destroy later. When you have no leverage, you must endure, flatter, then improve yourself. And most importantly, develop new people, train new people, make the irreplaceable replaceable. When they're replaceable, and you're not, you no longer need to endure, you must boldly deal with them. How do you gain irreplaceable value? Number 1, overwhelming ability. When I was a salesperson, every month I was the top salesperson in the company. Naturally, the boss favored me a bit, because half the company's revenue came from me. Other employees rested 4 days a month, while I could rest 8 days. How did I get such strong sales skills? Because when I joined the company, others rested 4 days a month. I didn't rest a single day for 6 months straight. Others worked morning or evening shifts. I worked from morning to night. Result? I met the most customers, had the most sales. Naturally, my accumulated skills were the strongest. Number 2, overwhelming wealth. Use time meant for emotions to make money. With money, emotions naturally follow. Yes, whether you agree or not, it's the truth. I'm busy with work daily, teaching nationwide, rarely home, seldom spending time with my son. Usually, his mother cares for him. But a few days ago, he had an essay assignment to write about a family member. He wrote about me. My dad loves me so much. After reading it, I was surprised. Why not his mom? Clearly, she loves him more. Because he knows all his toys, I bought them. Number 3, overwhelming insight. Insight is how you perceive things. Two monkeys fight fiercely over a banana while someone picks up a diamond nearby and leaves. Monkeys aren't incapable of grabbing the diamond, but from start to end, they don't think the diamond is worth more than the banana. Most people only see the surface of things, not the truth beneath. For example, most people care about emotions, but in truth, emotions are just the surface. The benefit relationships behind are the reality. For example, during the pandemic, why did divorce rates soar? Was an emotional outburst? The truth is, the pandemic made many men purr. How to improve insight? First, real-world experience. Second, guidance from the wise. Third, high-quality learning. The ultimate competition between people is a competition of insight. The level of your insight determines the level you live at, the wealth you possess.